Aleph, Bet, Gimel. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, all the dreams that we dreamed of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, children fly, and the dreams that they dreamed of really do come true. Someday I'll see the morning star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, children of Elohim fly, and I can believe if I dare to, so why, oh why wouldn't I see trees of green and red roses too, the river of life and the light of truth, and I think to myself, what a wonderful Elohim. I see skies of blue, I see clouds so white, I see all my loved ones and no more nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful Elohim. The fragrance of the Father fills the air and colors the faces of everyone there. I see friends shaking hands saying, how do you do? But they're really saying, I love you. I hear babies laugh and I watch them grow. They'll be much more than we presently know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful Elohim, Elohim. Someday I'll see the morning star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, dreams come true, and you can believe if you dare to, so why, oh why wouldn't you?
Such a beautiful song. Such a beautiful song. This is from Alan Horvath, who passed a couple of years ago. And we've been listening to this song because our beloved sister Bonnie's mother has passed on this week. And we are just, our hearts have been with her, though she's in Australia and we're spread across the rest of the earth. Our hearts have been just holding her up this last week. And we ask you to keep Bonnie in your prayers, her family, the preparations for the funeral and the wake, and just love on her, send great thoughts her way and prayers to the Father for her family. And we welcome you all today for our Shabbat study. We're going to be starting Romans 11, and we're quickly going to go find out why Paul is mentioning Elijah. And so we're not going to get too far. We're only get about 4 verses, I think, in Romans 11. We want to study Romans 11. It's really important. But we're going to look at some of these scriptures and also at Paul directly and his life and his service unto YaHuWaH. Bonnie, can we bring up Romans 11 then?
Just trying to send the link in, the link for the live over to my YouTube so that, you know, we can get some people joining.
Oh, definitely do that.
Oh, I'm running a bit slow today. Please forgive me.
Yeah, Bonnie, anything you want to say, you can. And, you know, we all love you and support you, and we're here.
Yeah, just grief is such a tough gig. It's a horrendous thing, but it's better and a lot I don't know, easier to sort of like sit with when it's not traumatic. Like if somebody died, like, you know, a death of old age, somebody going quietly surrounded by family, I mean, it's a lot better than, like, you know, a car accident and they're gone, or, you know, they're sick, you know, and yeah, ventilators and things. But yeah, it's still something that you have to sit through, and I'm very, very thankful to have had that experience and this week. So yeah, so forgive me if I'm a bit slow today. So,
yeah, you are just, you know, sitting with your grief and with your family's grief, and you're already talking about going and meeting with those that your mom fellowshipped with later today, which is still early in Australia, and just sharing and helping others walk through that grief process as well. And I know that's healing for everybody. And we talked about how you had prayed and asked YaHuWaH to either heal or to take her, to get her out of her misery and her horrible situation with her health. And that I was mentioning that when YaHuWaH takes somebody, that's the ultimate healing. Like, we kind of don't think about that from our living experience of like, oh, okay, well, now that's, you know, that's death, but it's actually like a transition. Bonnie, we talked about we talked the other night about, are they like in a long sleep, or are they meeting up with other relatives and friends that have passed on? And you had said something that I thought was so profound, and I don't remember who you said you had heard it from, Bonnie, but it was something of like, they're outside of time. So it is just like a blink of an eye for them. They're outside. We're still in time. So we still have to walk and march through every day, every hour, every second, and all the little stuff that we got to get through. And but they're free. They're absolutely free. There's no more pain. There's no more broken body parts that just don't run the way they used to. Just, they're free.
yeah, no, that was me. I thought of that in those last moments, farewelling, you know, somebody you love, and it's like, I'll see you again in the blink of an eye. Because that's scriptural, isn't it? In the blink of an eye, we'll be changed and we'll be with him. And I'm like, for her, it will be the blink of an eye, but for me, it won't.
Yes.
Because she's out of time now. She's in
Yeah.
the eternity that is apart from time. And that was just,
It's a crossing over, right? It's a transition out of this earth. And this earth can be so painful.
and
So
we,
brutal,
we,
painful, and
talked,
unkind.
we talked about that peaceful passing was like a labor again. Like you come into the world in a process of pain and labor coming through the matrix of the womb, which is it's the mem concept in Hebrew. And a peaceful passing out again was very much like a labor. Very much like a labor. But yeah, just that whole idea of, okay, there's time. It's time. The clock it starts for you, the clock it stops for you. Which was the thing I did a few months ago about, teach us to number our days. Proverbs 30 verse 6, I think it is. How many days do we have? We don't know.
Yeah.
It's not for us to know. But one day it'll stop for everyone. And it's like, hopefully it's a peaceful passing, not a traumatic one, Another thing that's been said is like, the older I get, the more people, you get to grieve, the more people that are moving out of time. I'll just say out of time. And Melody, for his kingdom over in live chat, the more you love, the more you ache. Love that. Yes, very much.
That is so beautiful. And you're right, Bonnie. The older we get, the more we will face and touch this grief.
And Robert's there too. Hi, Robert. They are sleeping. They know no time till they wake. Yeah. So we talked about, are they sitting in Abraham's bosom now?
Yeah, we talked about Lazarus and the wealthy man who died, right?
Yeah.
Them died.
Or they, are they sitting in like the bridal chamber? In scriptural we talk about the bridal chamber. And I think it's Teza. She loves the Esdras, second Esdras, chapter 7, verse 89 onwards. Go have a look at that. The 7 joys and the 7 sorrows. That talks about, it's an extra biblical book, but it talks about what possibly may happen.
Wow.
Yeah. And it talks about, you're being set apart and set aside. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway. We'll know when we get there ourselves. Everything will be known, everything will be revealed. But for now, there's a confusion, and there was, I think, a part of that reading in Second Esdras was, for now we have knowledge with confusion. Well, to me, in turning that around, it's like when we get to the other side of life, we will have knowledge without confusion. I'm like, wow, and we know who causes the confusion. But yeah. Anyway, so just sincerely sort of feel for anyone who's grieving anything, and it can't. It's not just life, It can be, a lost job. It can be, a lost relationship. It can be, anything.
Yeah, and I think my mom talks about it as if she's still grieving the death of her mother, and it's been like 33 years. It's like because that person lives on in your memories, but they're not there. You can't pick up the phone and call them.
Yeah.
So there's definitely grief and loss, and we get that. We can imagine. Like, I really can't imagine. I could start crying thinking right now if I couldn't pick up the phone and call my mother, right? Just the backbone, the support that she has been my whole life. a 60-year-old orphan, that's how I would feel.
Yeah, I'm literally an orphan now.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, please love on your family, love on the people around you, because you just don't know when someone's time is done,
Yeah.
Just don't know.
Well, let's go over to Romans 11.
I'm not sharing screen anymore, am I? Yeah.
And I did some reading over here this morning, and again, I started with Devoted to Yah because I know they have a great video about restoration of the two houses of Israel on Romans 10 and 11. And I started there, but I didn't get too far. And I was over into First Kings. I think it's going to be a great study today.
So Romans, okay, so looking at what we know is the Besorah, which is the New Testament, or the Well News. It's broken down to the Gospels and the writings, isn't it?
Yes.
Is the Besorah just the Gospels, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, even John's Gospel?
Yeah. I believe that the writings are just letters written to the different congregations.
And then in Hebrew, we also have the term Brit Chadashah. So I'm just confused. Besorah and Brit Chadashah. What's the difference there?
So one is Brit Chadashah is the renewed covenant, aka the New Testament.
Yep. So the whole back of the book. Yeah. So is the Besorah then the Gospels?
I think we should look that up, Bonnie, but I think it means the Tob news, although the word Tob is.
You can be confused with me.
I'll be confused with you. It's something if we don't know, look it up.
I know Besorah is generally translated the good news.
Just get my clients. Actually, this is Jeanette's clients. She's going to be taking this relic here.
You've got to send it to her first.
I do have to send it to her. I'm sure she's not appreciating the osmosis here. But I'm going to look up Besorah because it's right here. I do have another one. It's a little bit further down in my list there. My
okay, right.
I think is a sheen. Because no, I wouldn't write it with a C, so it's a sheen. Besorah. See what Besorah is.
Yeah, I know that the Sefer translated as the well message.
Okay, so Besorah, Bonnie, is to bear tidings.
Bear tidings.
Tidings. Yeah, he brought a joyful message. To bring a joyful message. It also means flesh, meat, body, creature, and pulp of fruit. So that's another definition of.
I like the idea of the fruit. The fruit is a lovely concept when it comes to scripture.
Yes. Yeah, so to bear tidings is technically the meaning of that is Besorah is going to be to bear the joyful tidings. The word joy, I guess, is implied. To bear tidings. So that's to give a witness.
Yeah.
To give a witness of the Tob news, the joyful news. Okay, so Romans 11.
We are there.
Yeah, so devoted, while you're pulling that up, Devoted to Yah has a beautiful video, and I'll have that in the description. It's called Restoration of the Two Houses of Israel. And the part 2, because their recording stopped in part 1. Yep, that's perfect. I think that's about it there. Part 2 starts in Romans 10, and then it continues on through 11. So I didn't get too far listening to him today. I'll read this and then we'll go from there. I say then, and remember, this is Paul. His name is Shaul, but we know him as Paul. I say then, has Elohim rejected his people? Let it not be. For I also am a Yasharalim. Yash. How do you say this?
Yeah,
You don't-
really.
No, in other words, in Hebrew, im would be plural. Yashreli. I guess it's that Yashreli. I have to look over on the Hallelujah scripture. I can do that. It's Yashreli. It's Yashreli. Okay. Yisraeli. For I also am a Yisraeli of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So he's from Benjamin. Elohim has not rejected his people, whom he knew beforehand. Or do you not know what the scripture says of Eliyahu, that's Elijah, how he pleads with Elohim against Yasharel, saying, YaHuWaH, they have killed your prophets and overthrown your altars, and I alone am left, and they seek my life. But what does the answer of Elohim? All right, so what is Elohim's not there in the original. But what does the answer say to him? I have left for myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal. All right. So I thought it was interesting. The first part of it is talking about has Elohim rejected his people? Let it not be. For I also am a Yashareli. So it's telling us right here that Yahuwah's people are Yasharel.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're not talking about Judah.
Yeah, we see that in scripture as Israel. And I always thought, and thinking about this the other day, I always thought, look, you see Israel in scripture and you think, okay, the people of the land of Israel, pretty much the Jewish people now, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
In scripture, you need to realize that when you see Israel, it's talking about the people who are not of YaHuWaH, who are not Jewish. And that's a big distinction, isn't it? Because you've got the northern tribes and the southern tribes. The southern tribes went to Babylon, came back, and they're now what we call the house of YaHuWaH, or the Jewish people. And the northern tribes is, 10 tribes. They went away, interspersed everywhere in the world, and never came back. So great teaching on that. Joseph DeMond's got a great teaching on the lost tribes. Tim Staley's got the identity crisis videos. That's brilliant to watch if you're trying to work out that, because I do believe now, after all these generations, that we're all Israelites. And you can, if you choose to grab a hold of that and make that yours, you are in that covenant with Abraham. And that is massive. Your seed will be like the sand on the seashore. It says that there too, the seed of Abraham. Yeah.
So he tells us he's not from the tribe of Judah there. Or YaHuWaH. He's from Benjamin.
Yeah, which ended up incorporating with YaHuWaH though, didn't it? So it's another teaching. Yes.
Okay, so then Elohim has not rejected his people whom he knew beforehand. So he's talking about Israel. Or do you not know what the scripture says of Eliyahu, how he pleads with Elohim against Israel? He's like, I've had enough with these people. YaHuWaH, they've killed your prophets and overthrown your altars, and I alone am left, and they seek my life. But what does the answer of Elohim say to him? I have left for myself, as YaHuWaH speaking, I have left for myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal.
Now, if we're working with the term Baal, we need to go there and explain restored names. I think, how do we do that quickly though?
Well, you know what, Bonnie? I've got a link over in the chat there. It's a Wikipedia page on Elijah.
Yeah.
And it's got a little paragraph in there that talks about this Baal deity. Yeah. It's going to be important for us to understand, because there's this point where Elijah calls for no rain. And I didn't realize that this was a deity that is regarded as one for the rain and the thunder and the dew and the mist. Did not realize that.
Deity for everything that you think you want to do in the world. Reading some scripture again this week, and it's like, the messenger, the Malachim of the father came to talk to the people about something, and they're like, what's your name? What's your name? No, you can't have my name. Because the moment that they get a name, that's it. There's their new whatever. It reminds me of, I saw an article this week about the movie, The Life of Brian. As silly as that movie was, it made a lot of sense. Oh, look, he's left a sandal behind. Oh, holy sandal. Look at this. Let's run up. Yeah, it's all about the sandal. Yeah, it just every little sort of nuance that we can grab a hold of becomes another tradition. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure it's not pleasing to the Father.
Yeah.
Faith is a simple thing. Keep it simple, stupid. And reminded quite often now, just keep going back to it is written.
Hallelujah. Let's go over to
Yep.
1 Kings 16.
Okay, so is that the Wikipedia link, or no? You want to?
Or you can pull up the Wikipedia link. That we could do that too.
Yep, I'll put that. Cool.
I was trying to figure out what, and we can just kind of scroll through this maybe. It's going to be a little bit lower. We could just go to the biblical account maybe. But I was trying to figure out what tribe was Elijah from, and they call him a Tishbite. And then there seems to be some discrepancy about what that means. Anybody have any thoughts on
Just
being a Tishbite? They didn't seem to. I think I saw one place where they said that he was from Benjamin, and they also said he was from the tribe of Yehuda. So he's got two parents, I suppose.
Yeah. Sorry.
So in the biblical account below here, I
Yep.
think it'll tell us about Baal. So let me just read this biblical account, and that's really all I need to read. Maybe that one, what's on the page here. So according to the scriptures, by the 9th century before the Common Era, I like how they say before the Common Era. That's really cool on Wikipedia's part. The kingdom of Israel. So remember, we're talking about Israel here in Romans 11. The kingdom of Israel, once united under Solomon, had been divided into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, which retained the historical capital of Jerusalem along with its temple. Omri, king of Israel, continued policies dating from the reign of Jeroboam, contrary to religious law, that were intended to reorient religious focus away from Jerusalem, encouraging the building of local temple altars for sacrifices, appointing priests from outside the family of the Levites, and allowing or encouraging temples dedicated to Baal, an important deity in ancient Canaanite religion, which is a Semitic religion. Omri achieved domestic security with a marriage alliance between his son Ahab and Princess Jezebel, a worshiper of Baal and the daughter of the king of Sidon in Phoenicia. These solutions brought security and economic prosperity to Israel for a time. So it was a political alliance there, but did not bring peace with the Israelite prophets, who advocated a strict Deuteronomic interpretation of the religious law. Under Ahab's kingship, tensions exacerbated. Ahab built a temple for Baal, and his wife Jezebel brought a large entourage of priests and prophets of Baal and Asherah into the country. In this context, Elijah is introduced in 1 Kings 17:1 as Elijah the Tishbite. He warns Ahab that there will be years of catastrophic drought, so severe that not even dew will form, because Ahab and his queen stand at the end of a line of kings of Israel who are said to have done evil in the sight of YaHuWaH. So imagine, if you will, laying over a layer of what we see with the rulers of our today. So that's what we want to look at, because YaHuWaH doesn't change. He's going to deal with the end of a line of rulers that have done evil in his sight. So here we go. The next little section here. No background for the person of Elijah is given, except for his brief characterization as a Tishbite. His name in Hebrew means my El is YaHuWaH, and may be a title applied to him because of his challenge to worship of Baal. I would say that's his calling. His name is his calling. You can find out a lot about a person by what their name is and what their name means in Hebrew, and then whether they're living up to their name or they've gone completely the other way. That also is obviously revealed in their character, what they're known by. As told in the Hebrew scriptures, Eliyahu's challenge is bold and direct. Baal was the Canaanite deity responsible for rain, thunder, lightning, and dew. Eliyahu, thus, when he initially announces the drought, not only challenges Baal on behalf of YaHuWaH himself. I'm using YaHuWaH for a reason, because in the Hebrew it is YaHuWaH. It's Baal versus YaHuWaH, or YaHuWaH versus Baal. It's a contest of deities. But Eliyahu also challenges Jezebel, her priest, Ahab, and the people of Israel. Okay, so now we can go on over to 1 Kings 16. We're going to start in 16.
Is
I
it
think it's
worth,
interesting.
is it worth mentioning the map over on the right here with the two tribes?
Sure.
Just, you've got Yehuda or Judah in the orange down the bottom here, and you've got the kingdom of Israel at the top here. So,
Right.
yep.
And then where's the Phoenicians? Does it show us that?
Oh, it's a bit hard to read.
Oh, Phoenician, right at the top. It says Phoenician. Does it say states? I think. Phoenician states. So that says.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
But anyway, real quick, before we go from here, I think it's interesting here. We are going to read about this, no, maybe not the widow of Zarephath, but after Elijah's confrontation with Ahab, Elohim tells him to flee out of Israel to a hiding place by the brook Chorath, east of the Jordan, where he will be fed by ravens. When the brook dries up, Elohim sends him to a widow living in the town of Zarephath in Phoenicia. So interesting that all this started with this alliance between Israel and Phoenicia, it looks like, to their north. So he will be going to meet up with this widow there. And then it says, I'll just read on. When Eliyahu finds her and asks to be fed, she says that she does not have sufficient food to keep her and her own son alive. Eliyahu tells her that Elohim will not allow her supply of flour or oil to run out, saying, do not be afraid, for thus says YaHuWaH, the Elohim of Israel, the jar of meal will not be emptied and the jar of oil will not fail until the day that YaHuWaH sends rain on the earth. And can I just see that scripture there in 33, Bonnie, that little footnote? I just want to see where it's at. Okay, so we will be reading it. 1 Kings 17. So she feeds him the last of their food, and Eliyahu's promise miraculously comes true. All right, we're definitely going to read that. So they're in a time of drought, and part of it is this contest between YaHuWaH and Baal. So now we're ready to go over to 1 Kings 16. And I want you guys to think about laying over this story, what is happening today with our leaders today. Okay, just where it applies in the story. That there's things that go on at that level of dealing with a human being with YaHuWaH than happens with the common people, the people that aren't the elite, that aren't supposed to be running things in righteous ways.
Was it 1 Kings 15, did you say?
16.
16, okay.
I don't know if this fan is bothering at all, but I could probably do without it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it a little quieter?
No, I can't tell.
No difference. I didn't hear it at all.
Oh, that's so great to know, because sometimes it gets sweltering in here. All right, so here we are. We're just going to read. We're going to read actually through 19. YaHuWaH willing, if it doesn't get too long. All right.
So just hang on, just to recap. So we're doing Romans 11. But
Yep.
just done the first 4 verses, that's all, and we're going to have a look at the story of Elijah and YaHuWaH versus Baal. So we don't need to read further past that. That's
as far as we're going today. I think that'll be as far as we can go.
okay. But it's a very important story, isn't it? It's
Yeah, and Paul brought it up. Paul had memorized the Tanakh, from what I understand. So he's going to bring up scriptures, and it's really like a treasure map clue. It's like, go find out about Eliyahu. Why would Paul bring up Eliyahu? Because he's talking here, Elohim has not rejected his people whom he knew beforehand. Or do you not know what the scripture says of Eliyahu? So he was standing against the people of Israel. So this is Paul's point. He was like, no, I'm done with these people. They've killed your prophets and overthrown your altars, and I alone am left, and they seek my life. And Yahuwah's answer to him is, I have left for myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal. Yahuwah is talking with Eliyahu.
Yeah,
He's
Elijah thought he was alone, didn't he? He thought, look, I've been through, all this drama and done everything, and here I am left alone. And he got so depressed after a wonderful supernatural sort of events that caused the destruction of the known sort of commerce of the time. But he goes off by himself, sits under a tree, and is so depressed that his ministry is absolutely like broken, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. He passes the mantle then on to Elisha. And it's like, wow, just to be part of all that story of what Elisha went. Eliyahu, I'll just say Eliyahu. What Eliyahu went through with the calling down of the fire and the death of all the prophets, the Asherah prophets of Baal, and then to come to a point where he just can no longer do his ministry. Now, obviously, he was there for that time, but we get worn out.
I was wondering this morning, how old was he at the end of his ministry? I don't know that. It might be, there may be some information on that. I just don't know. Does anybody else know? That's a question we could answer, either we don't know or can't be determined,
We can
or
find it. Yeah, we can find it. Okay. So 1 Kings chapter 16.
Yeah. Then the word of Yahuwah came to Yehu, that's actually Yahu, son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying, because I raised you up out of the dust and made you ruler over my people Yasharel, but you walked in the way of Jeroboam and made my people Yasharel sin to provoke me with their sins. See, I am going to sweep away Baasha and his house, and shall make your house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Anyone belonging to Baasha who dies in a city, the dogs eat, and anyone belonging to him who dies in a field, the birds of the heavens eat.
Now,
Verse 5. And the rest of the acts of Baasha, what he did and his might, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? So Baasha slept with his fathers and was buried in Tirzah, and his son Elah reigned in his place. Moreover, the word of Yahuwah came by the prophet Yahu, son of Hanani, against Baasha and his house, because of all the evil that he did in the eyes of Yahuwah, in provoking him with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he smote them. So this is a different prophet. This is not Eliyahu here. This is a prophet named Yahu. So we go from Yahu, we're going to start talking about Eliyahu. Okay. In the 26th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Elah, son of Baasha, began to reign over Yasharel in Tirzah 2 years. And his servant Zimri, commander of half his chariots, conspired against him as he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Artsah, who was over his house in Tirzah. Then Zimri came in and smote him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, and reigned in his place. So who was drunk here? His servant Zimri, commander of half his chariots, conspired against him as he was in Tirzah drinking himself. So the
servant.
No, I think Elah, son of Baasha, began to reign. So
yeah,
conspired against him,
against Asa.
as he, and this he is Elah,
It's Asa. It's the
was in Tirzah drinking himself drunk.
So you've got Elah, you've got Yahu the prophet, you've got Baasha.
yeah,
But
Baasha died.
Baasha is already dead,
Yeah.
and his son started to reign. And then he got drunk in the house in Tirzah, and his servant Zimri was conspired against him.
But Elah's reigning for 2 years. And
And Elah's the sovereign of the northern tribes, Israel. I think that's it.
That's what it, yeah.
Asa's the sovereign in Yehuda in the southern tribes,
Yeah.
and Elah was there for 2 years, and his commander conspired, and while he was drinking himself drunk, and then comes in and kills him. Right,
Elah
verse
was
10.
drunk. Yeah. Yeah, so you've got him and he, and it's all like it could be any of
I
them.
think that's the way it works. His servant Zimri, commander of half his chariots, conspires and kills Elah, who was drinking himself drunk.
But was Elah getting drunk, or was Zimri getting drunk and conspiring?
I think it's Elah getting drunk.
Okay.
I sort of feel like a commander of half the chariots of a king does not get himself drunk and expect to live out of that.
Well, yeah, you'd think they'd be a very responsible sort of person, and if they saw a ruler that was not appropriate or doing something, they'd have the power to do something about it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, he would have the power as a commander.
Yeah.
So let's go past this one then.
Yep.
So Zimri came in and smote him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, the sovereign of Yehuda. So that kingdom is still going with Asa, and reigned in his place. So Zimri reigned in his place. Yeah. Okay. And it came to be when he began. So because it was a conspiracy, he was inserting himself into that position of king.
Yeah. Inspired. Yep.
And it can't see how it's like facts and who done it in a murder.
Yeah. It's funny in scripture, it's like working out sort of, and you'll get revelation on stuff like, that he said about him, and it's like, well, what if it means this? But it could mean the other way, and work it out. Go have a look at the Hebrew and see if it makes any better sense, just yeah.
All right, so verse 11. And it came to be when he began to reign, as soon as he was seated on his throne, that he smote all the household of Baasha. He did not leave him one male, neither of his relatives nor of his friends. Wow.
So this Zimri dude was a bit of a whew.
He wasn't taking any of those that might think they were heir apparent from Elah. When he killed Elah, he killed all of Elah's male members of his family and his friends.
And
See,
as well.
Killed his competition.
Yeah.
And then okay, verse 12. So Zimri destroyed the entire house of Baasha according to the word of YaHuWaH, which he spoke against Baasha by Yahu the prophet. So of course we've come in chapter 16. This could be material that was before this, facts on this. For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, by which they had sinned and by which they had made Yasharel sin, in provoking YaHuWaH Elohim of Yasharel with their worthlessnesses. Ooh.
Right. We can make up a better word for that, can't we?
Worthless.
I mean, the interesting thing is that doesn't make Zimri a righteous person. In my opinion, YaHuWaH is using also unrighteous people for as a tool to get his will done.
Yeah, we probably just don't have all of the details here on Zimri. There could have been some command from YaHuWaH above that told him to do this. But it definitely says it was a conspiracy, and that's a popular word today.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Why does it say conspiracy?
Did you say why or where?
Oh, where? There it is. Yeah.
Conspired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Conspired against him.
Yeah.
And so it says Zimri there, let me see where I'm at. So verse 12. So Zimri destroyed the entire house of Baasha according to the word of YaHuWaH. So it says according to the word, and I'm sure if we go over to the commentary, which we don't have to do right now because I want to get through some of this. According to the word of YaHuWaH, which he spoke against Baasha by Yahu the prophet. So there's somewhere in the scriptures, it's going to show us some information on that. For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son. Okay, so here we have a leader named Baasha, right? And then we have his son Elah. So we have a leader with his son, okay, by which they had sinned and by which they had made Yasharel sin in provoking YaHuWaH, Elohim of Yasharel, with their worthlessnesses. Any of you guys know about any leaders that are worthless? Worthlessnesses.
Well,
What is
I'm
it?
not sure if my hands are enough to count them.
Exactly, right? How do we even count them? We talk about draining the SWAMP and nothing happens. Nothing happens. For years, we've talked about it. All right, so let's.
Darla, sorry, just over in the live chat, Darla says hello, Darla. Hi, Darla. Blessing and love from Darla.
YaHuWaH Baraki sister.
Oh, hey, we've got a question. Sorry, is Elias the same as Elijah?
Yes.
Okay.
And that Wikipedia page actually clued me in on that this morning. Don't knock it. Sometimes there's some great information that can be picked up there. You just be like, where's the scripture about Elijah? You can go and a lot of times they'll have them right there. Like we just looked at that 33 footnote and realize it is going to be in 1 Kings 17 that we're going to read about that story. But yes, it is Elias. That's like a Septuagint way of saying Elijah. And of course, the real way is Eliyahu. My El is YaHuWaH, is what that means. Okay, so yeah, provoking YaHuWaH, Elohim of Yasharel, with their worthlessnesses.
Yeah, so
We can assume that there are people in high positions that are provoking YaHuWaH right now with their worthlessnesses. It's a hard word to say, by the way.
yeah.
A lot of S's.
Way too many S's.
I would love to look at the Hebrew, but not now on that word. So, and the rest of the acts of Elah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? In the 27th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Zimri reigned 7 days in Tirzah, and the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines. And the people who were encamped heard it. Oh, Philistines, Gibbethon. It made me think about, the land of Israel was given to Israel. So what's the land of the Philistines, the Palestinians? It says Gibbethon belonged to the Philistines. Interesting. And the people who were encamped heard it said, Zimri has conspired and also smote the sovereign. He killed him, killed the king. So all Yasharel set up Omri, the commander of the army. So there's another commander dude. Set up,
Yeah.
because all the king's relatives are dead, right? So they set up Omri, the commander of the army, to reign over Yasharel that day in the camp.
So you've got like, the royal family or the political elite or whatever's going on, they're all gone. Who are you going to put up there as your sort of your chief sort of defender now? And the captain of the guard's going to have to be the best of them, aren't they? So you've now got the commander of the army, it says here. Commander of the army. So you've got the commander of the army versus the commander of the army, of course. It's like you've got it's all about the brute force.
Yeah, and also interesting, Bonnie, Judah, the house of Yehuda, their kings are coming down through their genealogy, right? But here we just got, let's just pick that guy. It's they don't have a genealogy to work through. That now it's the army.
Interesting, yeah. So the genealogy's out the window. It's like who's the strongest?
We're just making stuff up. Yeah.
SMU. We heard the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff made up.
Yeah.
And Omri went up and all Yasharel with him from Gibbethon, and they besieged Tirzah. So this is where Zimri is, right in Tirzah. And he's been there for 7 days. And it came to be when Zimri saw that the city was captured, that he went into a high place of the sovereign's house and burned the sovereign's house down upon himself with fire and died. Okay.
And that's like, was he trying to sabotage the house and recorded it? Pretty stupid saboteur.
Yeah, nobody else was going to live there. By golly, he's taking it down with.
So yeah, we need to read the next part of the story.
There we go. Because of the sins which he had sinned in doing evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH. So Tobias is right. He wasn't a righteous man. Because of the sins which he had sinned in doing evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH, in walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he had committed to make Yasharel sin. So it's not because he killed a wicked sovereign, but because that's it according to the word of YaHuWaH, but because of the sins which he had sinned in doing evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH, in walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he had committed to make Yasharel sin. So Jeroboam, for one thing, brought set up other sites for the people to worship, because he didn't want them returning to Jerusalem. And he set up calves to worship. He set up his own priesthood. So that's in walking in the way of Jeroboam, I believe. He justified what he did because he didn't want the people to return and be put back under authority from Yehuda in Jerusalem. I didn't want them going down there, and that would cause the people to sin, because they were supposed to go to Jerusalem to keep the feast. All right, and in his sin which he had committed to make Yasharel sin. All right. So it says he died. It's interesting because he killed himself. That's a suicide. But then it says because of the sins which he had sinned. So I don't know how that works. He both committed his own death, and it says because of the sins which he had. There is no and, but like, is it in his mind? He decided to commit suicide because of the sin in him which he had sinned.
I reckon it could go either way. It's like he's setting fire to something that he wants to destroy, but he got caught in it. Or was it like something where he's convicted of his sin, and
or does sin cause one to become suicidal?
Sorry?
Or does sin cause a person, I imagine sin can cause someone to become suicidal. in their thinking, right? He, at some point, he had to make a purposeful choice. I'm burning this place down, and I'm and I'll go out with the fire. So I don't know, but I think that I have heard. So there's a video on you guys might be able to help me. Tour to the tribes, and it's about generational curses. That's about as much information I can give you. Generational curses. But within the video, he talks about a study was done on the DNA of people that did different kinds of sins. So there might be like habitual liars, and they had a certain makeup in their DNA, which I think that they tested by blood or something. And they would have others that were like thieves, others that were murderers, and they saw these markers in their DNA.
Wow.
And then when these people would repent of their sins, and they would check their blood again, and the DNA was changed.
That's massive,
Isn't it?
yeah.
It's like
Changing DNA when you repent of something that is possibly a generational curse. Wow. I had heard of generational curses, and it's like, yeah, like if you know something's gone wrong in your family, generation after generation, you can put a halt to it, and you can say, no more. It stops now. It stops here.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Changing the genetic structure of a person. Could the genetic structure change depending on whether we're walking and living in sin versus walking and living in righteousness, and repenting and returning to the Father? So I think that can happen. I absolutely think that can happen. I think this whole idea of being given over to our sin when repentance just doesn't seem to be an option anymore, because the person has given themselves over. They've seared their conscience, right? The scriptures talk about that. They've seared their conscience. Well, maybe they seared their DNA. Maybe their conscience is laid down on their DNA.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we know the classic example is Pharaoh and in Egypt, and Moses and the Exodus, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's just a little rabbit trail.
We
Just
love
to talk-
rabbit trails. Come on.
I mean, because it talks about, he clearly committed suicide here, unless he thought he was getting out.
Yeah.
Way. Maybe he did. Maybe he thought, I'm going to burn this place down, and I'm going to sneak out the back, and they'll think I died in here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking like a poetic justice situation where he's, he's sabotaging something, and he's tripped over on the way out.
Yeah, maybe it's not suicide. We just don't know. But he did die in here, and it says he died because of the sins which he had sinned in doing evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH. So it's not about what we see as evil.
Oh, yes.
It's about what YaHuWaH sees as evil.
Are we certain that look, I don't knowingly want to be doing something against the creator of the universe. That's got to be a bad thing, right?
A very bad thing.
Yeah, and it's like, do you know what he said? Do you know what his laws are? Are you willingly submitting yourself to the laws of the creator so that terrible things don't happen to you? And look, it's a massive sort of talking point that can spin forever on it. But yeah, just the idea. Go and have a read of Psalms 119 sometime.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful sort of discourse on meditating on the law of YaHuWaH.
And Bonnie, I'm gonna step away for a few minutes with Judah in about 4 minutes, so you know. And y'all could just keep working through 1 Kings 16. I might be able to get on my phone in the meantime. And the rest of the acts of Zimri and the conspiracy he made, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yasharel? Then the people of Yasharel were divided into two parts. Half of the people followed Tibni, son of Ginath, to make him reign, and half followed Omri. But the people who followed Omri were stronger than the people who followed Tibni, son of Ginath. And Tibni died and Omri reigned. And that sounds like a battle or something, a war. In the 31st year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, so still Asa's doing his thing in the south, Omri became sovereign over Yasharel and reigned 12 years. So you can see it's like a math problem here, right? You got years, you got how long one reigns, how long the other's reigning. And so he reigned 6 years in Tirzah. And
I'd
that's
love
where,
to see a graphic on like maybe the timelines here.
yeah, they both got their own timeline going. You could lay them out side by side along each other, running timeline. And he bought the hill. So again, this is Omri. He bought the hill of Shomeron, that's Samaria, from Shimmer for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built Shomeron, after the name of Shimmer, owner of the hill. So I did not know that. So Samaria, if y'all want to know where the name Samaria came from, it came from Shimmer, which is interesting because we know that. All right, I'm just going to go look at my clients real quick. Shimmer. Because we know
So
that
if you put a resh on the end, well, we know that Shemin is oil, but what's Shemer with the resh on the end?
Yeah, let's look that up real quick.
We can have a look at the interlinear. I've got it here.
Yeah.
Kings 16:24.
So all these names mean things, and they're worth going. Oh my goodness, my Tobness. Okay, so we have here, I'm going to read in the clients while you're looking that one up. Well, we've got Shomer, right? To keep, to heed, watch over, guard, to observe. Okay, and it also says residue, remnant, dregs of a liquid. He supported, aided, protected. He kept, he heeded, watched over, guarded. He preserved, protected. It also says to strain, filter, literally to remove the dregs from the wine. And of course, watching, guarding. And the post-biblical Hebrew has the meaning of fennel.
Okay, so we're looking up this word here, Shemer. Hang on, we got 3 upside down triangles, 3 dots is an E as in red, Shemer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see an E, it usually means that that's not the root word. Okay, what do we got? It's like digging for treasure, you're just forever finding something else out. It's awesome. Okay, so I was just saying it's the name of 3 Israelites. Okay, first occurrence is where we are. First occurrence is always important because you can't read the back of the book first. What else has it got here? And we need to go to the exhaustive. The same as Shemer. Shemer, the name of 3 Israelites. See Hebrew Shemer. So, okay, it will be a number next door to 8106, 8105. So the number before. 8105, Lees and Dregs. So of the same, but the dregs, they're all the women. So we're talking about dregs as in like the bottom of the barrel sort of an idea.
Well, you also hear that phrase, dregs of society, dregs, wines on the lees from Shamar. That's it. Something preserved. Okay. The dregs would be preserved in the wine. And then Shamar, let's look at that one real quick.
Shamar will be different from Shomer, because Shomer is the yard, isn't it? Oh yeah, no, it's this one, Shamar.
Well, that's because it's from that word. That's the root. So to keep, watch, preserve. So that's, I was thinking about what does watch, keep, guard, observe have to do with wine and dregs? It's that word preserve. The wine is grapes that have been preserved in the form of wine.
Yeah. But they add preservatives to wine now. You don't like
Okay, so that was just we went off that to just go look at
Hang on.
this.
Here's the exhaustive. Do we want to look at the so
Yeah.
what we like to do is you need to get to here. You need to get to the primitive root, because that's like it's the root of the matter. It's the bottom line. And whatever else, the other words that come out from it and are extended with suffixes and prefixes, well, the root is the main point of it, isn't it, Darla?
Yeah. So you're on Shamar still?
Yeah.
Then, yeah. So primitive root, properly to hedge about as with thorns, guard, general, hedge about as with thorns. Like he says for us to watch, keep guard, observe his word. And that's what it means to hedge about as with thorns. Guard, generally to protect, attend to, be beward, be circumspect, take heed to self, keep, keeper, keep self, mark, look narrowly. Like don't have a wide margin of what you'll accept, right? Look narrowly at things. Observe, preserve, regard, be conservative, in other words. Regard, reserve, save self. Sure, that lay wait for, watch, watchman. Okay, Bonnie, I'm going to hand this over to you, and I will be back to join you on a little bit.
We'll keep reading 1 Kings 16. So, and he bought the hill of Shamaron from Shemer for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built Shamaron after the name of Shemer, which we just looked up in the Hebrew, owner of the hill. And Omri did evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH, oh dear. Oh, his own name well, and did evil more than all those before him. Just sad to think that, you know, leadership just, seems to be a downward moral. Well, what's that saying? Power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely, or something like that. I'm like, oh, far out, you know. You're gonna go bad, you're gonna go real bad. It's like, you know, I've committed one atrocity, what's 100 more? How we're going in the comments in the live chat now, just having a look. Roberts, I believe YaHuWaH uses Tob and evil to get the job done. His mandate is to save as many of us as he can. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah. All right, so here's our word again. So Omri did evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH and did evil more than all those before him, and walked in the ways of Jeroboam. We've looked at that again, which is against everything. Son of Nebat, and in his sin by which he had made Israel sin, provoking YaHuWaH, Elohim of Israel, with their worthlessnesses. Still so, try saying that. I say that worthlessnesses. It's a tongue twister. But yeah, you don't, you know, provoking YaHuWaH is not. And sometimes we think that, look, you know, the creator's not listening, you know, everything's happening and there's no justice for anything. It's a long time coming, but it will come. It will, I have faith that it will come. But in the meantime, life's not fair. And that's whole another kettle of fish. And the rest of the acts of Omri which he did, and the might that he attained, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? Okay, so Omri slept with his fathers and was buried in Shamaron in Samaria. And Ahab his son reigned in his place. In the 38th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehudah, Ahab son of Omri became sovereign over Israel. And Ahab son of Omri reigned over Israel in Shamaron 22 years. And Ahab son of Omri did evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH more than all those before him. I thought it was bad before. You know, we get this new leader and it's even worse. We thought we were getting a change for the better, and He's even worse. And it came to be as though it had been a light matter for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he took as wife. See, it says here Isabel. It's often translated Jezebel. But we know that there was no J until 500 years ago. So it will be a Yod. So it's is an I or a Y generally. So Isabel, the daughter of Baal, see, already in the bad way, and Aleph Tal is a covenant marker. So the daughter of the covenant of Baal, right? Sovereign of the Sidonians. And he went and served Baal and bowed himself to it, and raised up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Sharon, in Samaria. Okay. Any comments or questions so far, or looking back at Romans, we're like, again, we're looking at Elijah and the battle between YaHuWaH and Baal. And this is what Paul's talking about. This is the context of what Paul's talking about. And they just kept getting worse and worse, these guys, until we got to Ahab and Jezebel, those two. And Elijah gets to step in and just devastate them all, but we'll get to that in a minute. In his days, Hiel of Bethel built Jericho, which is Jericho. You heard the name Jericho. He laid its foundation at the cost of Abiram, his firstborn. Really? And at the cost of his youngest son, Segub, he set up its gates according to the word of YaHuWaH, which he had spoken through Yahushua, son of Nun. And we know this word Yahushua, it's pretty much the same as Yahushua, the Messiah. And roughly translated as Joshua. Generally, you see that Joshua, son of Nun, the fellow that took over from Moses and Moshe. So we have Ahab and Jezebel. They've set up Jericho. Now, this idea about foundations at the cost of children, I'm like, what do we make of that? But if it's according to the word of YaHuWaH, how do you lay a foundation at the cost of your children? I don't get it. Does anyone have any idea on that?
Well, maybe we should look at what costs mean in Hebrew.
Cost, yes. Great idea. So, okay.
Or the commentary. I think they both died.
Yeah. So they died as he was building it. I'm just thinking, did he do something silly in a ritual way? But if it was according to the word of YaHuWaH, it can't be that. That was never commanded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It even could be. I mean, I don't know. We'd have to go and probably the commentary would tell us on this. But it could just be that the cost of his firstborn. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the foundation was laid at the cost of his firstborn, and the gates were set up at the cost of. They both died. It looks like some sort of a prophecy that came true. Which he had spoken through. That again is Yahushua, son of Nun. Son of Noon.
1634. So I like Tobias's idea, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah, and in fact, Judah's not ready for me yet, so I just came back for a few minutes.
Just what does this word cost? What does this cost? So look, I put Jericho there in the English. There's no cost here.
No cost.
This is why we go looking, people. It's like, so it's in his days, Hillel of Bethel built Jericho with Abram, his firstborn. He laid its foundation, Sigub. Or with his firstborn, Sigub, he laid its foundation. And with Sigub, his younger son, he set up.
What's that Sagub word?
Yeah,
We got to look that one up.
we do, because it's when you see things duplicated, generally it's there for a reason, and you can see Bet Shin Gimel twice there.
Oh, yeah.
Bet Shin Gimel, yeah. So that'll be the root.
Ubiskib and Ubiskoob.
Yeah. So is that?
Let's go to that 7687.
That's got to be the word cost. I cannot in English see the word cost here.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's that word.
Yeah.
Sigoob.
Sultan. Okay, two Israel. Okay, well, what do we got? Look, so it's not there. It's not in scripture a lot. Only three occurrences. So from Segab, aloft. Segub, the name of two Israelites. Okay, so now we've got to go and have a look at Segab. I did. Put the one there. To be high, to be inaccessibly high.
So exalted, it said, a primitive root. What's that about? Yeah. To be inaccessibly high. All right, I'll be back. So it doesn't say cost of the things that it looks to us like it's talking about they died, but that doesn't.
To me in the interlinear there, it looked as though they helped with the build.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They were
exalted in it.
Yeah. Defend, exalt, be excellent, be set on high, lofty, be safe, set up on high. So it's the primitive root. So we've gone back to the the crux of it. To be causatively make lofty, or to be lofty, especially inaccessible, by implication safe. You think about YaHuWaH is a strong tower. Just people run to him and are safe. Love it. Strong, used literally and figuratively to defend, exalt, be excellent. High, be set on high. Lofty, be safe, set up on high. Be too strong. And look, we've got the word excellent here in the Psalms. Exalted. Yep. There it is. That's run to the tower to be safe. There it is there. So you've got
Well, then probably commentary helps us a little bit.
Yeah. So the word cost is strange. So okay, well I'm going in that case to the commentary.
Okay, here Sigab is the name of the son. So
Yeah, because Sigal is what we've got for cost, isn't it?
no, that's what we thought. But Sigab was obviously the name of the son.
It's been high and inaccessible. And the more things I have open, the slower things go. Never mind.
So it looks to me that this Sigab is not the cost word. It's the name of one of the sons, like Biram and Sigab.
Okay.
So we
we're still struggling to find the term cost in there.
Yeah, that's right. So we probably have to look into the commentary, what they think about it.
Yeah, great idea. And because to me this reads as though it reads as though they were co-workers. There's no destruction of anything there. It's set up. Got the word cost twice in the plain English in the ISR. Is there anything here that is we can see is duplicated? Through? No, I can't see anything that's duplicated.
Now it looks to me that if I read it here, and with Segub, his youngest son, he set up its gates according to the word of YaHuWaH, which he had spoken through Yahushua, son of Nun. So it's not costs. I would rather translate it in with the help or together with his sons, he set up the gates and. But maybe we. Here also with Abiram, his firstborn, he laid its foundation.
Okay, commentary.
Yeah.
Commentary time. We're going to have a look at commentary. So it was verse 34, wasn't it? 34. 1 Kings 16, 34. And these are, you know, just like documents from 100 years ago, pretty much, from noted scholars and theologians about different things. There's nothing about cost in that translation either. We've got in instead of cost. Which it sounds more like, you know, an inheritance or like, you know, a working alongside for the future.
Yeah.
A posterity sort of an issue. Okay, let's look. Oh, do you want to do some readings, Bess?
Well, what do we read? Ellicott's commentary for English readers?
Whatever. Let's see how long it is. Yeah, it doesn't go for long. It's best possible starting point is the first one.
Yeah. Did Heel build Jericho? This marks both the growth of prosperity and power and the neglect of the old curse of Yahushua. In Yahushua 6:26, the place had not, it would appear, been entirely deserted, but it was now made what it continued to be even down to the time of Herod, an important place. Its natural advantages were great. It stood in a position well watered and accordingly of great beauty and fruitfulness, the city of palm trees, and was moreover.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah. A city of military consequence, as commanding the path from the valley of the Jordan to the high ground of Ai and Bethel. Ai, artificial intelligence. It always comes to mind when I read AI or something like that. Having been assigned.
I think it's it said I.
Yeah, I.
It's in I. Yeah.
Having been assigned to Benjamin, it should have properly belonged to the kingdom of Judah, it's being rebuilt by a Bethelite, evidently under the patronage of Ahab, is one of the indications of a half-dependent condition of the southern kingdom at this time.
Nothing about, yeah, just looking to see.
Not
Okay,
executed.
this bit here, I think. He laid the foundation thereof in Abraham's birth. Okay.
Aha.
Oh,
Whom YaHuWaH took away in the beginning of his building, and others of his children successively in the progress of the work, and the youngest when he finished it, so that he found by his own sad experience the truth of YaHuWaH's word, the sentence which Yahushua pronounced against the builder of the city being literally and exactly executed. Okay, we have not
so that's
remembered.
like a death in the workplace almost idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's this one? Kings 16:26. For he walked.
A remarkable instance, this of the certainty of the accomplishment of YaHuWaH's threatenings, and that he never forgets what he has spoken.
Okay. Interesting. So do we need to read any more, or do we've got our answer, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 children died as part of a curse because they were provoking YaHuWaH. Yeah.
Well, let's see the curse. I know we are going away from what we.
Yeah.
Kings 16:26.
That
Kings.
talks about for he walked in all the ways of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and in his sin with which he made Israel to sin, to provoke YaHuWaH Elohim of Israel to anger with their vanity.
Okay.
We keep reading?
No. Yeah, go.
17,
Let's go ahead here.
17, yeah, we've got to keep going because we're going to get to like the destruction of the story of Elijah and the destruction of Ahab and Jezebel.
Jezebel, yeah. And Eliyahu the Tishbite of the inhabitants of Gilad said to Ahab, as YaHuWaH Elohim of Yisrael lives, before whom I stand, there shall be no dew or rain these years, climate change, except at my word. And the word of YaHuWaH came to him, saying, go away from here and turn eastward and hide by the Wadi Kerith, which flows into the Jordan. And it shall be that you drink from the stream, and I shall command the ravens to feed you there. And he went and did according to the word of YaHuWaH, for he went and dwelt by the Wadi Kerith, which flows into the Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the stream. And it came to be after a while that the stream dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. Then the word of YaHuWaH came to him, saying, rise up, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I have commanded a widow there to sustain you. And he rose up and went to Zarephath. I'm pretty sure that I'm not speaking it very well, but
I wouldn't have done any different, mate. It's fine.
Yeah. And came to the gate of the city and saw a widow there gathering sticks. And he called and said to her, please bring me a little water in a vessel to drink. And as she was going to get it, he called and said to her, please bring me a piece of bread in your hand. And she said, as YaHuWaH your Elohim lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in a jar. And see, I'm gathering a couple of sticks and shall go in and prepare it for myself and my son, and we shall eat it and die. And Eliyahu said to her,
That's a pretty tough statement to have to make, isn't it? Like, yeah.
well, and especially that she is then trusting a stranger
Yeah.
and does what he says when she has nothing. So that is a belief which I'm not sure how many in this world still have. And Eliyahu said to her, do not fear, go and do as you have said, but make me a small cake from it first and bring it to me, and afterward make some for yourself and your son. For thus said YaHuWaH Elohim of Yisrael, the bin of flour shall not be used up, nor the jar of oil run dry, until the day YaHuWaH sends rain on the earth. So she went and did according to the word of Eliyahu, and she and he and her household ate for many days. The bin of flour was not used up, nor did the jar of oil run dry, according to the word of YaHuWaH, which he spoke by Eliyahu. And after these events, it came to be that the son of the woman who owned the house became sick, and his sickness was very severe until there was no breath left in him. And she said to Eliyahu, what have I to do with you, O man of Elohim? Have you come to me to bring my crookedness to be remembered and to kill my son? And he said to her, give me your son. So he took him from her arms and took him to the upper room where he was dwelling and laid him on his own bed and cried out to YaHuWaH and said, O YaHuWaH, my Elohim, have you also brought evil on the widow with whom I am sojourning to kill her son? And he stretched himself out on the child 3 times and cried out to YaHuWaH and said, O YaHuWaH, my Elohim, I pray, let the life of this child come back to him. And YaHuWaH heard the voice of Eliyahu, and the life of the child came back to him, and he lived. And Eliyahu took the child and brought him down from the upper room into the house and gave him to his mother. And Eliyahu said, see, your son lives. And the woman said to Eliyahu, now by this I know that you are a man of Elohim, and that the word of YaHuWaH is, now by this I know that you are a man of Elohim, and that the word of YaHuWaH in your mouth is truth.
Beautiful, hey? Did you notice up here? Yeah, I know somebody actually said to me that, you know, the first oil baron. It was a never-ending pot of oil, wasn't it? Oil and flour.
Yeah.
She said here in verse 12, as YaHuWaH, your Elohim lives, so she knows his name, but she doesn't claim him as her own.
Oh, yeah.
And do you think we get to the end of the story here, and with this exclamation at the end, that maybe she has, you know, and with the miracle that there is a revelation of faith for these guys? Now it can be that the son of the woman who owned the house. So, yeah. So it's the same, same family, isn't it? It's the son.
Can you go back to where they meet first? Because I think I'm not sure if she's speaking about YaHuWaH or about Elohim when she said, by Elohim.
Right, here. A widow there will sustain you.
Yeah. Well, and she said, as YaHuWaH.
Yeah, your Elohim.
Your Elohim lives.
She didn't say our Elohim. She didn't say my Elohim. She said your. So look, I reckon he was dressed as a prophet, and she recognized him as a prophet. And in the end, she proclaimed him as a prophet.
Okay.
It's an interesting story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just her and her son. This is singular. expecting that they're just going to make their last meal and die, because there's a famine in the land, but they end up getting dinner flour was not used up, nor did the jar of oil run dry, according to the word of YaHuWaH that was spoke by Elijah. So expecting miracles when, or giving your last, giving to the purpose of YaHuWaH when you know you've got nothing left to give.
Yeah, I heard a sentence which
you're going to face some sort of demise of some sort.
don't give up 1 second before your miracle comes.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you get to 11:59, you know, PM, and, you know, at midnight, you know, it's all, what is it? Every cloud has a silver lining, but you've got to wait for the rain to pass. You know, just like you're not going to see, you know. Yeah.
So, Bonnie, I'm going to bed. Unfortunately, I cannot hear what Darla wanted to share.
Yeah, I think she wanted to go back. I'm going to go back to Romans 11 for a moment just to have a look at this again.
I'm back, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, you are back. Okay. We finished reading.
I loved what Tobias said about don't give up before your miracle.
Yeah, it's not from me, so I don't claim it to be.
What did you say again?
Well, I said don't give up 1 second before your miracle comes.
Right, 1 second before, exactly.
This was their reality. We, you know, I've got one. We've got one meal, and we're going to die.
Yeah.
And then they end up at the bottom of the page here with, you know, a miracle of provision that could even, you know, become an income.
Yeah.
In a land of famine, you know, you mentioned how much that any provision would be worth.
I'm just getting back over there. My scriptures got closed on me, so
we need to say shalom to Tobias because he's heading off to bed.
Shalom, Tobias.
Thank you for reading us.
And thank you for reading us.
I wanted to hear what you are going to share. So I'm not sure if it fits into your timeline or not. If it takes another 15 minutes, then I probably look at the recording.
I just couldn't even tell you. Yeah, go ahead and look at the recording and get your rest, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Then shalom to you all.
Thank you.
It was nice to meet you. Take care.
Bye.
It was nice to be with you too, brother. All right, Bonnie. So how far did you guys get in the reading?
Yeah, we got to the end of chapter 17.
Oh, you got to the end of 17. Okay. So, and I thought it was interesting in 17, in verse 22, and YaHuWaH heard the voice of Eliyahu, and the high of the child came back to him, and he lived. YaHuWaH heard his voice, right? And verse 21, and he stretched himself out on the child 3 times and cried out to YaHuWaH and said, "Oh, YaHuWaH, my Elohim, I pray, let the high of this child come back to him.
No, he didn't give up after one, you know, kept going up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up 1 second before your miracle. Yeah. Wow.
And then, of course, verse 24, and the woman said to Eliyahu, now by this, I know that you are a man of Elohim and that the word of YaHuWaH in your mouth is truth. I thought that was so interesting too. It was because her child was returned to her that this miracle happened, that she knew that the word of YaHuWaH in his mouth was truth.
So the miracle of the oil and the flour didn't change her idea of belief, but the raising of her son did. we looked at up here because it said where is it?
It was the same woman, huh?
Yeah, we looked at it. Yeah. Where is it? Where is it? It said, as YaHuWaH, your Elohim lives. So it wasn't her Elohim. So he was recognized as a man of Elohim. So it wasn't her faith, it was Elijah's faith. So we get the miracle of the everlasting oil and flour, but then we have to come down here to the miracle of the son being raised from the dead before she says, now by this I know. And it seems to me as though this reads that was a turning point where her belief journey began. She claimed YaHuWaH as her own.
Yeah, it's so fascinating when you think about the fact that here they're in drought's not the right word, is it? Like a famine. There we go.
Yeah.
They're in a famine. They're already they're at the end of their lives on the earth. And this prophet shows up, a Navi in Hebrew.
Yeah.
He shows up and they've already brought their belief has already been stretched to the point of, that's it, though he slay me, yet I will worship him. I will serve him. And they're about to die, and the child does die.
Mm.
And YaHuWaH brings the child back to life because he hears the voice and he hears his voice. Scriptures kind of indicate that he doesn't listen to all voices.
Yeah.
But the heart of one really seeking him, he hears. And this was a man that was called by YaHuWaH. He had a calling on his life as a Nabi, a prophet of YaHuWaH. He spoke with YaHuWaH. They heard each other's voices. So he had a great deal of belief himself. He saw things manifest. He believed. He saw these things manifest. He spoke with YaHuWaH. And YaHuWaH hears him when he speaks. That's just profound. Well, let's go on to 18. All right. And after many days, it came to be that the word of YaHuWaH came to Eliyahu in the 3rd year, saying, go present yourself to Ahab, and I give rain on the earth. Thereupon Eliyahu went to present himself to Ahab, and the scarcity of food in Shomeron was severe. And Ahab had called Obadiah, which means servant of YaHuWaH, who was over his house. Now Obadiah feared YaHuWaH exceedingly. And it came to be, while Isabel cut down the prophets of YaHuWaH, that Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them, 50 to a cave. So that tells you, that means servant of YaHuWaH, which of course we don't know unless we look it up in the Hebrew, right? But this is a servant of YaHuWaH. Now, is he fulfilling his calling or is he running from his calling? Those are the kinds of questions that we ask when somebody has a name and what it means. So it says that it came to be while Isabel cut down the prophets of YaHuWaH that Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them 50 to a cave. So he's got 2 different caves and had fed them with bread and water. And Ahab had said to Obadiah, go into the land to all the springs of water and to all the wadis. It could be that we find grass to keep the horses and mules alive and not have any livestock cut off in this famine they're dealing with and drought. And they divided the land between them to pass over it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And as Obadiah was on his way, then see Eliyahu met him, and he recognized him and fell on his face and said, is that you, my master Eliyahu? And he answered him, it is I. Go, say to your master, Eliyahu is here. Give me one moment, Bonnie. I want to put my baby chicks where I've got line of sight. Got too many.
So we have Ahab and Obadiah searching for prophets more than likely to be killed. Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like it. What verse did we end on here? Oh, here we go.
Down the bottom, yeah. And
Verse-
Obadiah who finds Eliyahu, and Eliyahu says, go and tell Ahab that Elijah is here.
So they're at least looking for Eliyahu.
Yeah.
And he said to him, what have I sinned that you are giving your servant into the hand of Ahab to kill me? As YaHuWaH your Elohim lives, there is no nation or reign where my master has not sent to look for you. And when they said he is not here, he made the reign or nation swear that they could not find you. And now you say, go say to your master, Eliyahu is here. And it shall be as soon as I am gone from you that the Ruach of YaHuWaH takes you away to a place I do not know. And I should come to report to Ahab, and when he does not find you, he shall kill me. But I, your servant, have feared YaHuWaH from my youth. So now we're hearing that he is fulfilling the calling of his life. He says he has feared YaHuWaH from his youth. So he's saying, I'm your servant, and of course he's YaHuWaH's servant as well in his name. So verse 13, was it not reported to my master what I did when Isabel slew the prophets of YaHuWaH? How I hid 100 men of the prophets of YaHuWaH, 50 to a cave, and fed them with bread and water. So did you not hear that report? And now you say, go, say to your master, Eliyahu is here. Then he shall slay me. And Eliyahu said, as YaHuWaH of hosts, YaHuWaH Zabaoth lives, before whom I stand, I shall indeed show myself to him today. So meaning Ahab. Obadiah then went to meet Ahab and informed him, and Ahab went to meet Eliyahu. So he found out that he was there, and now he's gone out to meet him. And it came to be when Ahab saw Eliyahu that Ahab said to him, is that you, O disturber of Yasharel?
Is that what we call our truth-saying people? You're a disturber. Yeah, that's
What do they call it?
hilarious.
It's information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Disturber of Yasharel. So here's a righteous man who has the ear of YaHuWaH, who has been used to, his prayer was answered and a child was raised from the dead. And here's the king of Israel, the 10 northern tribes, saying, is that you, O disturber of Israel?
Whereas he should be going, tell me what I need to do to have a righteous kingdom.
Yeah. And he answered, I have not disturbed Yasharel, but you and your father's house, in that you have forsaken the commands of YaHuWaH and you have followed the Baals. Okay, so what did they do? They've forsaken the commands of YaHuWaH. You know, we've got to, if the shoe fits, Cinderella's got to put it on. Okay, so forsaken the commands of YaHuWaH and you have followed the Baals. And now send and gather all Yasharel to me on Mount Carmel. So the whole 10 northern tribes are going to gather on Mount Carmel. The 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Isabel's table. So Isabel's feeding 850 prophets.
Wow.
850 prophets Isabel's feeding. Wow. This is what it's like to marry. Political marriage, and you marry into all those other deities. These are not, this is not a wife that YaHuWaH would have chosen for Ahab. Ahab then sent for all the children of Yasharel and gathered the prophets on Mount Carmel.
Oh, the stage is set. Okay.
And Eliyahu came to all the people and said, how long would you keep hopping between two opinions? If YaHuWaH is Elohim, follow him. And if Baal, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. Okay, so we could just stop right there.
Yes, we can, can't we? So is that what brings us back to the context of no.
Not yet. We're not
Not
there
yet.
yet.
Not yet. We're not there, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with this?
That's where he has had enough. Yeah. And so if we look at this, Bonnie, in another version like King James, let's just see what this says right here. This phrase.
21 in King James. Okay.
You got to know that's what he said. Those are the deity names that he said. If YaHuWaH, follow him. If Baal, follow him. And let's see what they say over here. What verse was it, Bonnie?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. 21. So this one says, if the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. But that's not what it says in the Hebrew. So let's look at it in the Hebrew.
Do we want to look at the interlinear?
Yeah, we could do that too.
1821.
I mean, that could just be so much not revelation back then when those commentaries were written. I think it'd probably be better just to drill down to the Hebrew, which was 21.
Yeah.
There we go.
So you're being commanded by a known prophet who has performed miracles, and you're being asked a question. And what is this question? If YaHuWaH be Elohim, follow him. If Baal, follow him. So we need to.
And he also said, how long will you falter or be hopping between two opinions?
Yeah. And the
So
people were silent at the end. So here we go. If YaHuWaH,
The Elohim,
the Elohim, follow him. I think is implied.
yeah, the is.
There it is there. The is implied. Follow him, but if Baal, follow him.
And then the people did not answer.
People did not answer. Yeah. So not only not answer a word. So not only did they not, they were wishy-washy in their belief. They wouldn't even own up to it. What were they worried about, getting persecuted or something if they did say something?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the
Yeah.
850 prophets at her table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine they're afraid to speak.
Yeah.
I think there's a fear of speaking happening today, or we all know in what context and where we're allowed to speak and where we're not allowed to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's important to know. One of the things that we think about is when someone says that they have a prophetic word today, and you'll see these videos on YouTube all the time. If they don't know YaHuWaH's name, every prophet in the scriptures knew YaHuWaH's name. They were speaking to YaHuWaH. Yeah. So if they have an inside track like Eliyahu did, they're going to know YaHuWaH's name. So if they don't know YaHuWaH's name, I don't listen to them. There's a real pause in me. Why don't they know YaHuWaH's name? Because we got to go by scriptures, not our translations. Look at that when we looked up where the Abiram, it said it cost him his sons, and then that seemed to mean exalted. Each son was exalted. Is that kind of what you guys came up with, Bonnie?
Well,
I had to walk
in the end, I think we were looking at the name, and the name of the son was exalted. That was the meaning of his name. We couldn't find the term for cost per se, but in the end, the commentary said that yes, he had two sons and had died during the build, and that was on account of the curse of them following the ways of Jeroboam, was it?
Bonnie, look at the word where they've got the word him. That's actually follow after him. That's all of that resh is after. Later, we've got that in Elohim Akarim, which is other latter-day mighty ones. I think that means after him. Follow after him.
We can look it up. But yeah, just saying with the other one that the curse was on whoever built that, whoever built there again, because they kept following the pagan rituals and angering YaHuWaH. Doing it
All
all
right.
the wrong way. All the wrong way. Never mind. It's just work out what is the right way. Seek it out diligently, and work out your salvation in fear and trembling, because the consequences are very nice.
Do we want to go back to the scripture then? There we go. Well, that was the
hang
comment.
on, I needed to change it back to ISR. This is why we go with the ISR, because you're just not going to get you're just not going to get it right.
Because Baal translates to the Lord. So it's like in this translation is like, if the Lord be Elohim, basically follow him. But if the Lord be Elohim, then follow him.
Yeah.
It's the way they've got it written. But it's like you're going to buy carpet. You want the green carpet or you want the green carpet? You know, it's the same thing.
Mm. So yeah, you're given two choices there, and it's both ending up with the same deity, and it's this one.
Exactly.
That's the sad reality in that translation, and it's not our fault. It's not our fault.
Not our fault at all.
Yeah, it's how it's worked out, and this is why, you know, you have the tools here. We're showing you how to look it up.
They used to have in the King James translation. If you've got an older King James sitting around, you can find it in the forward, and it says by the translators, the little commentary stuff at the beginning, like the preface. It says, out of consideration for the tradition of the Jews, they took Yahweh and made it the Lord, and they took God or they took Elohim and made it God. So this is out of consideration of the tradition of the Jews. They took the name of YaHuWaH out of his word. So we just want to restore what's there for us. And this is here. We don't really have any excuses. It's all here right in front of us, that we have the access to these kinds of tools. Yeah, that says a heathen deity. And it means owner or Lord. So
they're saying choose Lord or choose Lord. Choose Lord with a capital L or choose Lord with a small L. You know, it's like, it's all the same thing. And it also could mean married, master or husband.
Master, husband.
Yep.
Yeah.
Owner. That's a great one. It's like,
yeah, possessor. I think I've seen possessor as well.
Yeah. So it's
one who owns you, possesses you.
Yeah. Creditor. We all know about those, don't we? It's also archer, babbler, bird, captain, chief man, confederate, which is like you're in league with, have to do, and dreamer. From Baal, a master, hence a husband, or figuratively owner, often used with another noun in modification of this latter sense. Master archer, master babbler, master bird, captain, chief man, master confederate, master have to do, master dreamer, those to whom it is due, master furious, those that are given to it. Great, master hairy, he that hath it have, master horseman, husband, lord, as in, you know, lord of the manor, man, married, master, there it is again, person, sworn, they of, yeah. We're still not at the primitive root, are we? Keep going. What's the primitive roots? So yeah, rabbit trails, to marry, to rule over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me think about marriage licenses and study Bonnie and I looked at this week. And it's like marriage licenses are a tricky business. It's not really explained what you're getting into with a marriage license, but you're basically bringing in the government as the head party up at the top, and you've got each party down here, the husband and the wife, and then whatever they believe here is like a dashed line in their little diagram, and it's like, if you believe in the creator or whatever, that's really not significant to us. We don't care about that part. What we care about is that the government is set up. And then when there is a divorce, you still have this relationship here that was going through this, that's now separated, but you still have a relationship with the state. It's insane. You know what? If you guys want some information on that, you can email me and I'll send you a link to that study. I'm not mentioning.
That was a fantastic study, quite a long one, but hey, it was well worth the time. Well worth the time.
Well worth it.
If you say the two words common and law, you probably get a bit of an idea.
It was a much better study than studies I've seen in the past, sort of similar to it. But yeah, well worth the study if you want to know what's really going down with us being in the ignorant side of things and not knowing what's happening. So Bonnie, should we go to ISR now?
Yeah, see, and back to the ISR, because it's like, yep, we love the
ISR. Restored Name Translation. ISR stands for Institute for Scripture Research.
And look, yes, the names are a little bit hard to read, but they're closer to the Hebrew.
And it's what is amazing is that there's hidden meaning in each of the names. So, and places, names of places as well.
Yeah.
All right. So how far did we get?
I think we, hang on, we were talking about.
Yeah, keep going down.
We were at the end.
Ahab had just gotten to him.
Oh, the big question. That's right. Here, this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a disturber of Israel, he says. All right. And Ellie, yeah, why are you hopping? How long would you keep hopping between two opinions? Like, it's not about opinions. It's about what YaHuWaH's word says.
Give me fact every day, not opinion.
Yeah. What is it?
Change. Facts don't. Is that?
What, Bonnie?
Opinions change. Facts don't. YaHuWaH is truth. He is truth. And the truth is the same today, tomorrow, forever. Right? Opinions are like, oh, well, let's accept this now and not that. And oh, hang on, no, you're excluded. And
it's not a smorgasbord. All you can eat at the buffet, and I like this and I don't like that, and I'll have 12 helpings of that. You know, that's not how YaHuWaH's word is designed. We're supposed to read it and keep it, keep his commands. And so he says, how long? So they don't even know what deity they want to follow. Oh, we'll follow YaHuWaH today and we'll follow the Baal tomorrow. You know, they're hopping between two opinions is what it says here. And Eliyahu comes to all the people, all of Israel and the 10 northern tribes, and says, how long would you keep hopping between two opinions? If YaHuWaH is Elohim, follow him. And if Baal, follow him. Like, let's follow the real one. Can we just agree to do that? You know, follow truth, find the truth and follow it. But the people answered him not a word. And Eliyahu said to the people, I alone am left a prophet of YaHuWaH, but the prophets of Baal are 450 men. And he hasn't even talked about a share, right? This isn't about a share. This is about Baal here. So there's 450 of them. Now let them give us 2 bulls and let them choose 1 bull for themselves. They get to choose the one they want and cut it in pieces and lay it on the wood, but set no fire. And I prepared the other bull and shall lay it on the wood, but set no fire. That would be a great term, Bonnie, for a table. Set no fire. Find the terms of this story in it. And you shall call on the name of your mighty one. And I call on the name of YaHuWaH. Like, whose name do you call on? I call on the name of YaHuWaH. He's invoking the name of YaHuWaH. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he is Elohim. So all the people answered and said, the word is told. Well, curious though that we saw in Wikipedia that Baal is, so even though he means owner and master and husband, possessor, but it also says that he was supposed to be the deity of rain and thunder and dew. So anyway, it's interesting that he's calling for fire. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he's Elohim. So all the people, and by the way, I don't know if Wikipedia is true. Maybe they're making this stuff up, or maybe they're going with faulty information. Maybe they based it on the fact that Eliyahu's calling for fire, so he must be the one for water. I don't know. I don't have that much knowledge on this Baal deity. Anyway, back to verse 24. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he is Elohim. So all the people answered and said, the word is Tob. So they agreed. And Eliyahu said to the prophets of Baal, choose one bull for yourselves and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your mighty one, but set no fire. So they took the bull which was given them and prepared it and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon. So you get a visual of this, right? 450 prophets of this false deity, and they're outside with a dead animal calling on a fire from morning to noon, saying, oh, Baal, answer us. But there was no voice and no one answered. So no one's answering their calls. And they leaped about the altar which they had made. They're just trying with all of their human stamina and strength to make this fire happen. And it came to be at noon that Eliyahu taunted them and said, cry aloud, for he is a mighty one. He is meditating, or he is busy, or he is on a journey, or it could be that he is asleep and has to be awakened. And they cried aloud and cut themselves according to their ruling with knives and spears until the blood gushed out on them. Okay, so that gives us a bit of a clue.
Yeah.
What religion do we know where people cut themselves with knives and all of that, and it's a bloody religious rites and stuff? Yeah. And it came to be when midday was past that they prophesied until the time of bringing the offering. It means the evening offering. But there was no voice and no one answered and no one paying attention. Then Eliyahu said to all the people, come closer to me. And all the people came closer to him. And he repaired the altar of YaHuWaH that was broken down. So he hasn't even started yet. His animal's not there. He repaired the altar of YaHuWaH that was broken down. And Eliyahu took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Yaakov, to whom the word of YaHuWaH had come, saying, Yasharel is your name. So this is when Yaakov's name was changed to Yasharel. And with the stones, he built an altar in the name of YaHuWaH. So this altar is built with 12 stones, one for each tribe. And he made a trench around the altar. And interesting that he didn't use 10 stones like for the 10 northern tribes, but all 12.
I was going to say that, 12 stones, Israel, your name, yep.
And with the stones, he built an altar in the name of YaHuWaH, and he made a trench around the altar large enough to hold 2 seahs of seed. And he arranged the wood and cut the bull in pieces and laid it on the wood and said, fill 4 jars with water and pour it on the burnt offering and on the wood. So now we have 4 jars.
There's no rain.
Yeah, right. They got water stored up. So they have to have water stored up somewhere. These people would have died, right?
Okay.
Then he said, do it a second time. So that's 8 jars. And they did it a second time. And he said, do it a third time, 12 jars of water. And they did it a third time. And the water flowed around the altar, and he filled the trench with water too. And it came to be at the time of bringing the evening offering that Eliyahu the prophet came near and said, YaHuWaH Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yasharel, let it be known today, you are Elohim in Yasharel, and I, your servant, have done all these matters by your word. So let's just read again what his prayer was. YaHuWaH Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yasharel. Let it be known today, you are Elohim in Yasharel, and I, your servant, have done all these matters by your word. So everything he did was by the word of YaHuWaH, and he wants everyone to know that YaHuWaH is Elohim in Yasharel. Answer me, O YaHuWaH, answer me, and let this people know that you are YaHuWaH Elohim, and you shall turn their hearts back to you again. What a beautiful prayer. That's beautiful. Then the fire of YaHuWaH fell and consumed the burnt offering and the wood and the stones and the dust, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. And all the people saw and fell on their faces and said, YaHuWaH, he is the Elohim. YaHuWaH, he is the Elohim.
They just needed a show of strength and, people looking for signs. They're going to switch between opinions until they get the right sign. And what's it going to take to go, okay, well, this is worthy of my attention. I'm going to follow the status quo and what everyone else is doing, or I'm going to search it out and I'm going to trust in what I know, what's been revealed to me. And it can cost you everything. It does cost it. And
I have ducks coming in.
stop feeding them cat food.
They don't care.
We love the ducks.
They're after doggy food, but I think the bowl is empty right now.
Yeah.
Haven't fed. All right, so let's go on with verse 40. A sad walk out. I see it.
So I had the cat on my desk before. I haven't had time to feed her, and I'm like, good, she's gone away. Sorry.
And Eliyahu said to them, seize the prophets of Baal, do not let one of them escape. So they seized them, and Eliyahu brought them down to the Wadi Kishon and slaughtered them there. And
you can imagine like when the people finally wake up to the corruption going on and the worthlessnesses of the powers that be around them, there's going to be so many more people than there are. Like, that was a large number of priests of Baal, but
yeah,
all the people could easily grab 450 people, couldn't they?
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
It's like,
and they're teaching and preaching deception and lies.
And they were proven over hours and hours, given all the best opportunities, and proven over hours and hours that what they were doing was useless.
Yeah. And so we go on, let's see. So they've been seized. So they seized them, and Eliyahu brought them down to the Wadi Kishon and slaughtered them there. And Eliyahu said to Ahab, so this is the king again of the 10 northern tribes, go up, eat and drink, because of the sound of the noise of rain. So what the Wikipedia was saying, that this Baal is a deity of rain, right? So now this Baal's been basically dismissed. And so now Eliyahu's saying, rain's coming, sound of the noise of rain. And Ahab went up to eat and to drink, and Eliyahu went up to the top of Carmel, and he bowed down on the ground and put his face between his knees and said to his servant, go up, please, look closely toward the sea. So he went up and looked closely and said, not a speck. And 7 times he said, go again. So I guess that's 8 times. Well, let's see what the next verse is. And it came to be the 7th time that he said, see, a little cloud as small as a man's hand is coming out of the sea. And he said, go up, say to Ahab, hitch up and go down before the rain stops you. And in the meantime, it came to be that the heavens became black with clouds and wind, and there was a heavy rain while Ahab rode and went to Yisrael, which means he scatters, by the way. He scatters those seed of Israel. It's a play on words between Yasharel or Yisrael and Yisrael. And the hand of YaHuWaH was on Eliyahu, and he girded up his loins and ran ahead of Ahab to the entrance of Yisrael. Yeah,
That's,
7 times.
Yeah, 7 times, and on the 7th time. So it's sort of, it could be 8 times, but it does.
It could be 8 times. Yeah, but they did see a little cloud as small as a man's hand on the 7th time. You might have sent him back that 8th time, because it says in 7 times he said go again. So that, not counting the first time, it's 7 more times. And then let's move on to 1 Kings 19. It's just such a huge chapter in terms of significance here with there's a perfect time to mention this. There's a report out today, I guess, that people in Nevada have seen, Las Vegas area, I think, have seen aliens, and they saw a crash of something, a bright light. I think I shared a video in our current events, Bonnie. Rick was telling me about it this morning. I said, Rick, somebody, if there's aliens that they are describing, I think they said about 8 feet, and they have some sort of skin on them. If that is happening, somebody's gotten video footage of that. If they saw it, they've got video. So we haven't seen that yet. I don't know if anybody else here has.
No,
But
didn't get time. Yeah.
this is a deity. This is a deity that was taken down or dismissed because he could not bring fire down. And then not only can YaHuWaH bring fire down, YaHuWaH can bring rain down. Anyway, so when Ahab reported to Isabel all that Eliyahu had done, he's killed her 450 prophets, also how he slew all the prophets with a sword, Isabel sent a messenger to Eliyahu saying, so let the mighty ones do to me and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. So she's going to kill him by tomorrow, she's saying. And he feared and rose up and ran for his life and went to Beersheba, which belongs to Yehuda, and left his servant there. So now he's in the land of Yehuda. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree and prayed that he might die, and said, it is enough. Now YaHuWaH, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers. Take my chai. And he lay and slept under a broom tree, and see, a messenger touched him. So he's ready to die. I'm done. I can't do any more. I'm ready to go to my fathers. I'm no better than them. He's sleeping. A messenger touches him and says, rise and eat. And he looked and saw by his head a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. So here messengers brought him a cake, like a pancake, right? So he ate and drank and turned and lay down. And the messenger of YaHuWaH came back the second time and touched him and said, rise, eat, for the cake that for the journey is too much for you. And he rose up and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights, as far as Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. I'm thinking this wasn't a natural cake. If that strength of it carried him 40 days and 40 nights, I don't know. What do you think, Bonnie?
That makes a lot of sense. That's, the strength of that food. You think 40 days nourishment. That's a lot of calories. You're supposed to have, I think it's 1,000 calories a day, 40,000 calories, or close to one cake. It's a manna type experience, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
Yeah.
But he wants him to rise and eat because he's taken this journey.
So we went to Horeb.
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
Which is where the law came down. No, that was Sinai. What's the significance of Mount Horeb?
Horeb is like the mountain that the fallen ones came down on.
Watchers came down, you think? Okay.
I think that's what struck up in my mind when I read it earlier today.
Okay.
But here it's saying the mountain of Elohim. And it may be that mountain, the mountain that the mighty ones come and go on. I don't know, or that they were recorded as coming and going on. I think that's what that mountain is. We can look at the commentary. It's probably important enough. So even though Moshe went up 40 days and 40 nights, and then we also had Eliyahu going 40 days and 40 nights in his fast, and then Yahushua also doing 40-day, 40-night fast.
Yeah, I had heard something about that was the qualification for the group of of people on the mount of configuration. Yahushua went to the top of the mountain, and the two prophets came. That was one of the things that linked them all.
Oh, I see what you're saying. And then that is so interesting, right? And then of course I think the flood waters went for 40 days and 40 nights, right? The raining.
Yeah, 40, the number 40 is massive in scripture. You've got to look at the numbers, and the numbers have meaning too. And there's something about 40 and fasting. And Darla can tell us all about it because she did it.
I did it.
Yeah, just massive amount of self-control to get that done.
For me, it was grief, just a massive amount of grief. And I had a broken heart. So do we want to look at Horeb in the commentary, maybe verse 8?
19, yeah, 19. I can just see. Go here.
So we're looking for this Horeb is really, we could probably, scroll through pretty quick and just look for Horeb.
I'll give us some significance on the number 40 as well. Here you go, 40 days, 40 nights. Yep, Moses up in the mountain, and there you go. Temptation in the desert. Strength of the meat.
So on the right, it says unto Horeb, the mount of El, so called because above all other places, it was distinguished through Elohim's manifestations of his power and esteem. The Septuagint does not represent of Elohim. So it just says in the Septuagint, it just says unto Horeb, the mount.
Interesting.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not there.
But it is in the Hebrew.
It is.
Let's look.
See, yes. Okay, 1 Kings 19:8.
You're pretty handy with that.
Yeah, just on it all the time. It'd be nice to have a faster one, but if YaHuWaH wills, it'll happen. Besorah. Look at that.
Yeah, how about that? In
Interesting.
string.
Listening to the Anna Besorah prayer yesterday.
Were you?
In my grief, yeah. I was.
Anna Besorah.
It is to say it does. It says Elohim. It is there. What are they talking about?
Yeah, the mountain of El. Well, they were talking about the Septuagint.
The Septuagint. Yeah, this is the Leningrad. Hang on. Stand the bottom here.
Well, Bonnie, let's just click on
The Westminster Leningrad Codex. Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Let's click on the Horeb there, 2722. Horeb.
Waste. Ooh.
Well, yeah. Waste, a mountain in Sinai. Okay.
Waste and desert that have there. So not there many times.
From Harab, desolate.
Yeah. generic name for the Sinai Mountains. So it could be.
Oh, a generic name for the Sinai Mountains. Okay,
Yeah.
very nice. And so what is that harab then?
Yeah.
Yeah. To be dry or dried up. Okay. So it's like a real dry, deserty kind of thing.
Probably just rocks and sand wherever you look. Destroyed and decayed. Interesting.
Oh, there's a word attack. Wow.
Was my waste. Yeah. There you go.
A
Oh,
primitive root to parch through drought. Well, they definitely had that going on. By analogy to desolate, destroy, kill. Decay, desolate, destroy, destroyer, be dried, dry up, slay. What would you say? Parch, surely, lay, lie, make, waste. So the idea of desolation, destruction, killing, waste, parchment, or
always
not
an
parchment.
interesting rabbit. Always an interesting rabbit hole to see this word destroyer.
Yeah.
Waves. So, yeah.
All right, let's go back.
So, yeah, so that was horrible.
Our scripture. So we made it through
This, yeah.
First Kings 19, verse 8, and then so verse 9. We're still reading this, right, Bonnie?
Yeah.
Okay, and there he went into a cave and spent the night there, and see, the word of YaHuWaH came to him. So YaHuWaH just brings his word to Eliyahu and said to him, "What are you doing here, Eliyahu?" And he said, "I have been very jealous for YaHuWaH, Elohim of hosts, for the children of Yasharel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your altars, and they have slain your prophets with the sword, and I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it." And he said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before YaHuWaH." So this reminds me also of Moshe, where YaHuWaH says, "I'm going to pass by you. On the backside of me, you can see." And he said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before YaHuWaH, and see YaHuWaH pass by in a great and strong wind, tearing the mountains and breaking the rocks in pieces before YaHuWaH. YaHuWaH was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. YaHuWaH was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. YaHuWaH was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it came to be, when Eliyahu heard it, that he wrapped his face in his robe and went out and stood at the cave opening." Like he's covering his face, so he's not looking at YaHuWaH, I guess. I mean, that's what's it makes me think of. Wrapped his face in his robe and went out and stood at the cave opening, and see, a voice came to him and said, "What are you doing here, Eliyahu?" And he said, "I have been very jealous for YaHuWaH, Elohim of hosts, for the children of Yasharel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your altars, and they have slain your prophets with the sword. And I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it." And YaHuWaH said to him, "Go, return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and you shall go in and anoint Hazael as sovereign over Aram." So this is Syria area. "And anoint Yahu, son of Nimshi, as sovereign over Yasharel, and anoint Elisha, son of Shaphat of Abel Mecholah, as prophet in your place." So he's going to anoint two sovereigns and a prophet in his place, a Nabi.
Sounds like a great reset, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Just saying.
So, what are we doing with Ahab? All of a sudden there's another one that's going to get anointed here.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to be replaced. And this is YaHuWaH telling Eliyahu this. Okay. "And anoint Elisha, son of Shaphat, as prophet in your place. And it shall be that whoever escapes the sword of Hazael, Yahu does kill. And whoever escapes from the sword of Yahu, Elisha does kill." So these are things that YaHuWaH calls for.
They're expecting the prophet to kill.
Yeah,
Didn't realize that.
this is Yahuwah's character here.
Wow.
This is what he's saying. This is what we're doing. This is what we're about to do. And I shall leave 7,000 in Yasharel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him.
Yeah,
So
I
it
think
looks to me,
that's back to here then, 7,000. 7,000, yeah.
we still have the 50. We have the 50 prophets in each of the 2 caves, right?
Mm.
So that's 100 prophets right there. But this is talking about the people, it looks like to me.
Mm.
Yeah, you're back at Romans 11 to show this is where
Yeah.
we see this.
This is where we're synchronizing, yeah.
I have left for myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal. So it sounds like these are not the group that was hopping between 2 opinions.
No, that was the people. They called all of Israel to the mountain
Yeah.
to for the great event of, you know, Baal versus YaHuWaH. And the fire came down finally. Yeah. Mm.
Okay, so it says, and he went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat, which means judge, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he was with the 12th. And Eliyahu passed by him and threw his robe on him. It's like, here's the mantle.
It's like, yeah, here you go.
He left the oxen and ran after Eliyahu and said, please let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I follow you. And he said to him, go, turn back, for what have I done to you? And he turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slaughtered them and cooked their flesh using the implements of the oxen and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he rose up and followed Eliyahu and became his servant.
Okay, so he didn't take over the ministry there. It was an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, okay, so the significance of Paul telling
Yeah.
us this story in the New Testament. What's the
Yeah. So again, he's saying, has Elohim rejected his people? Let it not be. Elohim has not rejected his people whom he knew beforehand. Or do you not know what the scripture says of Eliyahu, how he pleads with Elohim against, it's like, calling down a judgment or something, pleading against Yasharel, saying, YaHuWaH, they've killed your prophets and overthrown your altars, and I alone am left. I'm the only one, and they're seeking my life. So I'm gonna die, and that's all of us.
that puts him in the same position of faith or belief as the widow who gave the last token of the meal to him.
Yeah, I alone am left, and they seek my life.
Yeah.
But what does the answer, Paul says, but what does the answer say to him? I have left for myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal.
Yeah,
So therefore also at this present time, a remnant according to the choice of favor has come to be. That's beautiful.
Mm.
What do you think, Bonnie?
Mm. Yeah, and look, it's just a fantastic story, and it's just interesting to see it there in the New Testament. And it's like, if it's in there in the New Testament and Paul's talking to the Hebrews in Jerusalem, well, then the Hebrews in Jerusalem are going to go, that's the story of Elijah. We know the story of Elijah. But if we don't go back and look at the story of Elijah, well, then it's hard to know what this is about.
Right. And we can actually go over and look at the beginning of the book of Romans and find out who is he talking to.
All right.
Who is the letter written to? I'm assuming it's the assembly in Rome, but we can go look. So we just have a, here we go. Let's see if he tells us who he's writing to. Shaul, a servant of Yahushua, Messiah, a called emissary, separated to the Tob news of Elohim, which he promised before through his prophets in the Kodesh scriptures, concerning his son, who came of the seed of David, according to the flesh, which was designated son of Elohim with power, according to the Kodesh Ruach, by the resurrection from the dead, Yahushua Messiah, the master of us, through whom we have received favor and the office of the emissary for belief obedience among all the nations on behalf of his name, among whom you also are the called ones of Yahushua Messiah. To all who, here's where we get to it finally, because he's very long. He wants to include everything that is calculated, what he's writing here. To all who are in Rome, beloved of Elohim, called sanctified ones, Kodesh ones, favor to you and peace from Elohim our Father and the Master Yahushua Messiah.
So we have called set apart ones in Rome.
Yeah, that's who he's writing to.
So do we have, what called set apart ones do we have in Rome now?
Set apart to whom?
Yeah, my point exactly. But yeah,
Even the word set is a Egyptian deity. So
Yeah.
Hallelujah Scriptures doesn't use set apart. They
yes.
don't use it because it is a deity's name.
And even holy. What's wrong with the word holy? I've forgotten. Hang on. I've got my list
That
of the things.
also, that's in the Aramaic interlinear scriptures from Roth. He's got a footnote on that holy is another deity. So
Kadosh,
have
set
one.
apart, sanctified. And yeah, so Kadosh is yeah.
Yeah. So we just go with the Hebrew because that's a really safe word.
Yeah.
I've heard people even say sanctified. There's a problem with like the word sanctuary.
Yeah.
But that's a problem. It's not a clean, pure word.
Our
There's
language has been tortured to a point that we are cursing ourselves with everything we say. And it's so sad. So very sad. And it's not our fault. It's literally not our teacher's fault either, but the people writing the teaching and the people who paid for the translating. Wow, they're going to have a massive debt to pay.
I think Yahuwah's like, as far as you can get away from me in language and corruption from the language. The language is corrupted. When a conqueror comes in and takes over a people, they change their deities, they change their name, they change their quote holidays, their religious dates. They disorient them from and separate them from their past, from their forefathers, from any sense of trying to gather and become one and rise up. And sometimes that even looks like an internal operation, by the way. Those men in high positions that have no business being there because they're up to wickedness. Yeah. Bonnie, is this a great place for us to stop today?
Yes, I think we're
So
done.
too.
I've got to get out the door. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And we thank y'all for coming and studying with us today. We hope that it is, or we expect actually, that it is a baraka, a blessing to you. It is to us. It's so wonderful to be in the word of our Father. And that's what matters, being in his word. Opinions don't matter. Hopping between opinions, useless, worthlessness. And if nothing else, you got to laugh at me saying worthlessness is
Worthlessness is yeah.
yes,
Just put another S in there, why don't you?
All right, Yahuwah will be with y'all through the rest of your Shabbat and through your next week. And I just have to remember always how to stop the live stream over here.
I've just asked in live chat if there's any questions. So just one moment, please.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll take a moment.
Just we've got a little bit of debate on Mount Hermon. Mount Horeb.
Mount Hermon, that's the one I was thinking of.
Somebody's
Thank you.
thinking Mount Hermon with a question mark, and Robert's come to our aid. Mount Horeb is the mountain at which the 10 Commandments were given. At least that's what
Thank you,
Google.
Robert.
At least that's what Google says. Well,
Yeah, I think, yeah, Bonnie found where it said that it's generic for Mount Sinai. So that's great because it's Horeb and Hermon, which I don't know if it's a hey or a chet, maybe a chet.
it wasn't meant for Horeb. Yeah.
How about Hermon?
Hermon? Oh, I don't know. Although it, Robert also said, although most scholars consider Sinai and Horeb to have been different names for the same place. Okay, cool. Yeah.
That's kind of what we read too as well there, Bonnie.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I for some reason Hermon was coming to mind when I was reading Horeb, and I was like, that sounds like, it sounds like it, but it wasn't it.
So Mount Hermon, I think, was the one where the watchers came down, where the fallen angels landed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to get stuff like that straight because I don't want to attribute anything.
Go search it out.
Mountain of Elohim. Yeah, we have to search out what we hear.
So in
And,
the Septuagint, it didn't say
it here.
of Elohim. So that was interesting.
Yeah, it certainly did.
Hopefully you guys didn't hear that.
Didn't
Oh,
didn't
good.
hear it.
I'm not saying anything. Yeah, I'm picking on you. It's all right. He's sitting in the corner. But he's just finished night shift. Oh dear. All right.
All right.
Well,
All right.
we will go. There doesn't seem to be any more questions in the live chat. So thank you for joining us.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for joining us, and you will be with you. Actually, we're going to be here tomorrow for a live stream. I got all those S's going on. Live stream presentation from Code Searcher Jeanette on Deliver Me, I think is the name of her table. So you're welcome to join us. We will have a live stream. It's set up for 2:15 p.m. Mountain Time, and we hope to see you then. We will be with you.